How's it going, everybody? Doing another console ramble here today. This is another one I would have done in the past, probably like 3-4 years ago, maybe. But it is the original Xbox. It is a little dusty. Nice little design. It's got the 4 controller ports. The Cube and the Xbox had the 4. PlayStation only had 2. I love the original Xbox. This thing is it still might be heavier than like the PS5. This thing is fucking heavy. This thing was built tough. I've told stories about this thing before that were true. My friend's brother dropped his down a flight of stairs, not on purpose. He was bringing it like back downstairs. And he dropped it and it bounced off every step and then hit the wall. Still worked fine. There was this story years ago about somebody shooting it with like a 9mm. And it still worked. I don't know why they did that. To test it, I don't know. It's a beefy system. This was my second of... This is not my original Xbox, but... It was the second I had picked up. I had the GameCube first. Got the GameCube like a day after it launched. Or 2 days after it launched, something like that. But games weren't coming out. I should say it's a third, actually. Games weren't coming out, or they were getting delayed. They didn't have third-party support really as much. Definitely not as much as the Xbox, or definitely not as much as PS2. So I ended up picking up... I got it in... so it was November, I guess, of 01 Cube. I ended up picking up a Dreamcast in January of 02. Because at this point, Dreamcast was done. Sony kind of buried them. The PS2 had a DVD drive. They were screwed. 02, I was able to get a used Dreamcast from GameStop in Sunrise Mall for $20. And I think it was still GameStop. I don't think it was Funkoland. Because there was a GameStop and an eBay. So I had that for a bit, got some games, enjoyed it, ended up selling it to a friend. And then Michael wants something. March 02 comes along. And I get the Xbox. I was like, fuck it. And the funny thing is, it was $300. And the Cube was $200. It was $3. The PS2 was $3. And then they dropped it. Like a month before, maybe not even no, it was like a week or two after I got it. Sony dropped theirs to $2. So Microsoft was like, fuck, we have to drop ours to $2, which kind of obviously hurt it. Out of the gate, pretty much. So they dropped theirs to $2, and Toys R Us honored it because it was in like a month of the drop. So I got $100 back. Got this. Got a memory card because I didn't know there's a hard drive in the fucking thing. You still could use a memory card if you wanted to take your save data to a friend's house. But first game I got with it was Max Payne. I should have probably gotten Halo. Silent Hill 2, I believe, was out at that point. For the Xbox, it was definitely out on the PlayStation. I think it came out like a couple months later on the Xbox. I don't know too. But obviously, Halo was definitely out. There was solid. The Xbox had a pretty solid launch window. Had a bunch of solid launch titles. They had Reckless, Bloodwake, Halo. I think Tony Hawk 3 was there. Some sport games, obviously, were coming out at the time. They probably had a racing game as well. But I'm pretty sure they had a solid, just from those titles, solid launch. I'm not sure when Max Payne actually came out. It would have been before March of 02, or maybe in March of 02. And loved it. I remember getting home with it, throwing it in, playing it, like, holy shit, this looks great. Same kind of thing. I tell my friends, like, check this out, because it's different. This is Microsoft's first jump into the console realm, right? And it's still my favorite of all the Xboxes. It's still my favorite. They made like a PC as a console. Like I said, it had the hard drive. I don't know how big the hard drive actually is. Maybe it's like 12 gigs or something. I don't know. Somebody tell me. But it had more power than the PS2 and the Cube. Now, graphically, if you look at them side by side, a lot of the games that came out, all of them, it looks the best on the Xbox. Followed by the Cube, PS2. None of them were. The gaps weren't huge, okay? But it definitely, like, you could tell it looked better on the Xbox. Not that it matters, but it had power. This thing had power. And a lot of people say it was never, like, the true power of this thing was never, like, fully tapped into by people. I think this is hard to emulate, too, because of the architecture of it. I'm not sure, though. Maybe people are emulating. But I get home. I'm like, this game's sick. I do have a stack of games here. Here's the controller. This is the controller S. The second one. Which is fine. Solid controller. Memory card slots. It's got these two buttons, the black and white button here. So it has a lot of buttons on it because it did not have the additional triggers. It just has the two. Like PlayStation had the right? PlayStation has 4, right? Not as PlayStation only have 2 as well. Did they come up with the... Was that like 360 and PS3 they added the shoulder buttons? Or am I completely not knowing what the hell's going on here? Perfect button. The sticks pushing them in. Great sound. D-pad. Starting back. Now they have their 4 controller ports. It's got the Ethernet port too because Xbox Live came into play with this. I don't think it was right out of the gate. I can't remember when it was. Crimson Skies, like one of the first ones. I don't know what the first game to use Xbox Live was. But PlayStation, I'm pretty sure, had the hard drive attachment I think you needed for online play. Like I said, I cannot remember. This thing had a hard drive in it. Great power, great launch lineup. A lot of cool exclusives for the thing. The original controller was the big, huge Duke, they called it. Thing was huge. I like that controller. It was double the size of this thing, I feel like. This one's fine, too. This is a solid controller, but that Duke was classic. I need to find one of those. See how much they're going for on eBay. Maybe find one on the antique stores. Cool Xbox logo. Xbox got shit on a lot at first when they first launched. And they first were like, oh, we're making a console. People were like, oh, fucking bullshit. Like, they had kind of an with Microsoft, they had a little bit of an uphill battle. But it sold pretty well. It outsold the Cube, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, nothing was touching the PS2. But for first console, did well. Oh, and it also had this, which is a cool feature. The breakaway cable. So, if you walk past your thing, didn't know it was plugged in, or it's not dark out, if it was like pulled tight, say it was sitting on like a shelf or something, or a table, and you just walk past this, boom, it'd break off. So you're not possibly pulling the console down, which is too heavy to do. You're not pulling your controller off or anything. Cool little thing, breakaway cable. Then everything became wireless. You still can't buy wired like USB controllers, but a lot of exclusives for the old Xbox. Like I said, I started off with Max Payne. I borrowed Halo from a friend, and he's like, "Yo, you gotta play this." I knew of Halo, but I didn't know. I knew that it was a game. Bungie's. They came over from like the Apple, I think, right? Where they were gonna make it for Apple eventually. I don't know. I guess Microsoft bought them. And I played it. I was like, "This is fucking incredible! What a shooter!" Right? I talked about it in the. Was it the series Ramble? I talked about it, and it was incredible. It was a fantastic shooter. You could play multiplayer on there. You can do system link with the Xboxes. So if you have to have 2 Xboxes, 2 TVs, you can play 8 players. I think it stopped at 8, but maybe it went further. Maybe you could do up to 16. I don't know. I know you could definitely do 8. And that was cool. I played some Halo multiplayer with my friend and his brother. It was fun. I would get my ass kicked. But I did not do the Xbox Live thing, but definitely a cool feature if you're into that, right? And they brought that out. I like the design of the thing. You got the big X green Xbox in there. It's just a nice looking console to me. It's built like a fucking tank. But they came out. A lot of people call them the spiritual successor to the Dreamcast because Sega put out a ton of their exclusives. Like they went to like a lot of their games, their franchises went to Xbox. They were putting out Sonics on everywhere, and there were other games on the Cube and the PS2. But the Xbox got like the brunt of Sega stuff. I don't have. I've since sold Panzer Dragoon Order, but they had the Jet Set Radio Future, Sega GT 2002. This is the dual pack. They had Panzer Dragoon Order. They had Gun Valkyrie. The Otogi games. The 2 Otogis. I played the first one. Full. I had the second one briefly. Cool games where it's like kind of hack and slash. You're knocking down big structures and stuff. Those are really cool games that I think just stopped at the Xbox. You had... What else did you have? I said Gun Valkyrie. What else? There was others. There was a lot of others, I feel. Shenmue 2, even though it was also on the Dreamcast, but I think they added some stuff. I need to pick that up again because that's a pretty cheap game. Even if you get the DVD that comes with it as well. But say it was these ones, they got some Sonics as well, obviously, but they were everywhere. What else did they bring over? Those two, Panzer Dragoon, Gun Valkyrie, the Otogi games, Shenmue 2. There was others as well. A few others at least. And their sports stuff was coming out. Actually, it was probably just coming out on PS2 and Xbox. I'm not sure if the 2Ks came out on the Cube. I could be completely wrong. They probably did. Maybe, I don't know. But they had their own exclusives as well. Like, Xbox had a good lineup of its own exclusives. And in terms of console exclusives, they get a lot of stuff that was on the PC that you couldn't put on the PS2 or the Cube. Like a Morrowind. Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Now, the way it worked on Morrowind, and I saw this, I knew about this back in the day and I forgot about it. But recently, I've seen a lot of Morrowind videos recently on YouTube, but it, like, when the game was, like, loading, it would, like, because it didn't have enough memory in it, like the PC for Morrowind, so I forget when, like, the game was loading, the system would be, like, resetting. That's why the loading screen's so long. It'd reset that memory so you keep playing. That's why there's a lot of load screens. That's where I played Morrowind. The load screens were rough, but long. It was glitchy, but I liked it. I love Morrowind. I want to pick it up again to play it. I'd play it on through Steam, but it's not controller compatible, and I'm not good with the mouse and keyboard. I never have been good with it. Only if it's like point and click type games, easier games to move. Once like the keys get involved, I'm just not gonna, the keyboard and stuff, I'm not gonna be able to handle it. But maybe I give it a shot if it goes on sale. It's not an overly expensive game. Especially if you get the Game of the Year edition. It has Tribunal and Blood Moon. I played 3 Tribunal, and I played a lot of Blood Moon, but I didn't complete it. But stuff like Morrowind, I'll talk about others. But they had like, racing games, Rally Sport Challenge games. I had this, I don't know if I own this or I rented it back in the day. But I did play the Rally Sport game. You got your passenger and shotgun telling you where to go and stuff, and you gotta be quick. Like Rally Sport. Project Gotham, I think was a larger title. Those were the racing games they were putting out, which I think they have stopped making. I don't know if the first Forza was on the original Xbox, someone tell me. But Project Gotham, they made up into 360. I think they stopped, right? I think that first one was a launch title, but they had racing titles. You got Bloodwake, which is a boat combat game. That was an exclusive. It's a pretty fun game. Launch title. Brute Force, which I enjoyed. But they were trying to tout this as another Halo, which it is not. Because I'm pretty sure it has 4-player co-op. Yeah. It says System Link 1 to 8. So it probably is just 1 to 8 on the System Link. Not 16. Unless some games maybe were, I don't know. But this is a third-person action adventure game. You play 4 players on this, use the 4 different characters here. I played single player. It was a cool game. But they were trying to tout his next Halo, and I think it hurt it. I'm pretty sure it sold fairly well, but not. They never went back to another one of these. This is one of the ones I got at that garage sale. I was like, you know what? I wouldn't have Brute Force. This is not an expensive game. Crimson Skies was exclusive. Plane combat game. It was a really cool game. It's another cheap one. Buffy, the first one was an exclusive. The second one was not. This is a cool game. I believe the same people that made this made Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. Cool combat system. Did a gameplay of this one, I believe. If you're into the show, you're gonna like it, but it's a cool beat 'em up. Action adventure beat 'em up. You got this. Obviously, you got Halo and Halo 2. Now they were definitely on the Xbox. They were just on the Xbox for a bit, and then maybe it could have been 2 years later. The first one came to PC. I can't remember. There was a gap before they came to PC. I'm pretty sure. Jade Empire was another one I never played. Made by BioWare. I'll talk about them. I'm not sure if that was on the PC as well. Obviously, classic Halo. This just says System Link. It doesn't even say 1 to 8. It was a launch title. $6.79. I got this copy for at a video game trading post, and I got this one from some South Shore Mall in Bayshore. Oddworld, another one. By the way, I missed this. I love the only on Xbox. The Hit Cube had one too in the corner. PlayStation did not, because they're like, Final Fantasy X is just on the PlayStation. Metal Gear Solid 2, although it did actually come to the Xboxes, Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance. Silent Hill 3 is on the Xbox. I mean, it's only on the PS2. Maximo, Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. You could just keep going on. Sony didn't need to do that with PlayStation, but I still love it. But Oddworld, and I love the greatest hits, the platinum hits, I should say, for the Xbox. They never did it as well. It looks like shit for the 360. Did they do it for the Xbox one with just a little line? I don't know. I love the look of these cases. I would get just all of these. I have maybe let's see, I got 1, 2, 3. I think I got another 4 over there, at least. Like this. I would get just a collection of all platinum hits. I like the way they look. But Oddworld Munch's Odyssey, this might have been was this a launch title too? Or very in the launch window? Because this came out on 1. So I don't know if it was December or it came out at launch. I know they had a good launch, Xbox. Oddworld, another one. They had a lot of good exclusives. You had, like I said, the Sega stuff, which I mentioned before. They had their own sport games for a few years. They had the NFL Fever, sorry, for maybe 2-3 years. Hits was the arcadey one. I'm pretty sure they had the other sports too. Microsoft was making them. They had 2 or 3 each. The NHL definitely had one. What was it called? What were those ones called? Let me see real quickly. I need to know them. Oh, come on. I didn't want to hit horror. I need to see. They definitely had other ones. The Rally Sports were part of it. Amped. They had their snowboarding games. NFL Fever, Top Spin. I forgot they had Top Spin. They're not even telling you. NHL Rivals, maybe it was called. I don't know. Whatever. There were some sport games. And those other ones, like, yeah, they had the snowboarding games. They had the rally sport games, the racing stuff. What were some other exclusives I had? Like, the first games I had Max Payne, then I had Pirates Legend of Black Cat. Blood Omen 2 was an early title for me. But you got cool stuff like Arx Fatalis, which I had. That was one where, like, the surface world kind of got destroyed, and everybody lives underground. Cool, interesting RPG type game, like a action RPG, I guess. That was on the PC as well, but that was only on Xbox. Then you get stuff like the Knights of the Old Republic, and the second one, which I have. I just grabbed this one. They were on PC as well. These are BioWare. So if you aren't gaming on the PC, and you only had a console, you're only getting these on the Xbox. Fantastic fucking RPGs. Because the Xbox didn't have a lot of these are not turn-based ones, but traditional turn-based ones. Like Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. They had that one. But they didn't get any, they had no Resident Evils, actually. Microsoft. They did get Dino Crisis 3, which was exclusive, I'm pretty sure. They had Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth. They got the Suffering Games. They got 2 and 4 for the Silent Hills. They got the first 2 Fatal Frames. So there was some horror stuff. The PlayStation 2 had the best horror selection. The Cube did get, like, the Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 0. And then they re-released Code Veronica 2 and 3. Then they had 4, which later came to the PS2. They did get Onimusha 2, I believe, the Xbox, which is kind of like a little bit of a harsh argument. But fantastic games. Franchises like Splinter Cell started on the Xbox. This might have been a timed exclusive. It did make its way to the other consoles, though. But once again, looked the best on the Xbox. Cool. These are like Metal Gears, but more grounded in reality. If you like your fantastical storytelling, you get it from Metal Gear. And obviously the stealth is fantastic in that game too, but these are fantastic stealth games. Michael Ironside, Sam Fisher, he stopped being Sam Fisher. I forget when. He was in a ton of the games though. Blacklist, was that the one he wasn't in? I don't know. But awesome stealth games, they get pretty punishing in terms of like, oh, you can't do shit, or the mission's over, you know. Your cool third-party stuff like Metal Arms, underrated game here. Love this game. You're Glitch. Great, just huge explosions of robots. You're hijacking people as vehicle stuff. It's apparently multiplayer as well. HDTV 480p. Another timed exclusive. The original copy I would have had back in the day, I'm pretty sure I had the only on Xbox. But another one that's, in my opinion, superior on the Xbox compared to the PS2 and the Cube. This one, I'm pretty sure, has no difficulty levels. It's just one difficulty. And this game's pretty hard. They gave difficulties on the other ones. I mean, they might have cut stuff from the other ones, too. I don't know. Fantastic game. It's like Max Payne. I prefer it to Max Payne. You got your dog that's disarming enemies. You're doing disarm moves. The boss fights are pretty unique. No shortage of enemies. You got the slow time too, like the slow down time, like the Max Payne. They took that from that. But fantastic game. A cheap one as well. You got a ton of Bond games this generation for all the consoles. I did not grab Rogue Agent. But these were the first 2. Agent Under Fire was the first, followed by Nightfire, followed by Everything or Nothing, which went to third person. These 2 are first, and then this one was first person as well, which is just from Marshall with Love. And I think you're pretty sure you had Sean Connery back doing the voice and likeness. So if you like Bond games, you were eating good. Rogue Agent is a GoldenEye Rogue Agent. They're trying to bank off the GoldenEye name. That game is just a generic corridor shooter to me. It's a first-person game. You got all these. You got... What are some other exclusives? Oh, man. They did get the Medal of Honors. So they had shooters. They had the Halos with the gold standard. I should say they had a lot of shooters. PlayStation's the one that didn't have. I feel like had a weak... the Xbox had the best, probably, shooters out of the three. Because you got your two Halos. Everybody had the Medal of Honors. I think everybody had stuff like Project Snowblind. Deus Ex Invisible War was only on the Xbox as well as PC. It's a great game. I mean, I named a lot of the exclusives I had, but the Blinks Time Sweeper games, I enjoy them. Those were cool. The first one especially, I don't know if they did it in the second one. In the first one, because you can like rewind time and stuff, that worked with the hard drive. Like, it was weird how they had that work. They kind of got shit on. There was two of them. You had the Mercenaries games, which are third-party games. Oh, the first Mercenaries, cool, really cool game, actually. That was on the PS2 as well. I don't think that was on the Cube. Really good game. The second one, that was on the 360 and the PS3. Might have been on the PS2 as well. Was fun as well, but the first one's really good. Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. I need to look at picking that up again. They might actually have that in the Antiques and Geeks. I have to see how much that sells for in there. Because Mercenaries is a cool open world game. But it's a hell of a console. It's one of my favorites. It's in my top 5. I love the fucking thing. It was my favorite from that generation. Even though it wasn't like a stretch. Like, the Cube was awesome. The PS2 was fucking incredible with their game library. But I have the fondest memories. It's the one I had the longest. I had it for like 3 years back then before I sold it. The Cube I had when I originally got in 01, I had it for about 8 months. I think I sold it in summer of 02. After I played Resident Evil Remake and Eternal Darkness. And I played some other games on there as well, like Simpsons Road Rage, Agent Under Fire. A couple other games I had as well. Dark Summit, the snowboard shooter, I think. But I had the most. Like, I had the Cube, then I sold the Cube. Then I grabbed the PS2 for Vice City. Eventually sold that PS2. Still had the Xbox, got another Cube. Sold that. I was like trading them in, getting them, selling to people. I was always swapping out one of the other two. Back then. Because I wanted to play like Silent Hill 3, only on there. Then I would play some of the other ones. Like the Warriors was on the Xbox. Warriors, fantastic fucking game. Based on the movie, but the first half of the game is like a GTA style open world thing, and then it moves into the movie. Really fucking sick game. A bit expensive. No, it's probably like a $75 game, maybe less. I could be wrong. But they had good exclusives. I've named a bunch. There's plenty of other ones. Exclusives as well back then, but and they got a lot of third-party stuff. You know, they ended up getting the GTAs later on. All 3 of them. The 3 and Vice City came in a dual pack. And you were able to do the custom soundtracks, I'm pretty sure on that. Because I forgot to mention that. It did custom soundtracks. The Xbox did custom soundtracks. You could burn your CDs onto the hard drive. State of Emergency, I used to use them in. Some of the racing games you could do it in. Do I have any games here? Did Rally Sport Challenge do it? No. It would usually tell you on the back if you could do it. They might have had that feature briefly on 360 as well. Some of the racing games do it. I remember State of Emergency specifically. Burnouts, I believe the Burnout games you could do it with. Even though they had great soundtracks, I'm pretty sure you could do custom soundtracks. Oh no, I can't believe I forgot that. Thankfully I came up. I remembered at the end. So if someone's watching the video and is like, oh, you didn't say it. It was said at the end. Custom soundtracks, cool fucking feature. I remember using it, definitely. I'm pretty sure I might have used it on Burnout. But I know for a fact, the State of Emergency, I used it on. Another cool game. Another Rockstar game, but yeah, great memories with the Xbox, honestly. Love it. Still love it. Like, I have since sold some, like Panzer Dragoon. I'm like, I'm not going to play it. But there still are some games I would like to have that I would actually know. Like Mercenaries, I would at least play a little bit of. But but they got, the Prince of Persia's were on there. They were on everything. So they got a lot of third-party support as well. And, oh wait, no, what was it? Sudeki and Fable. I forgot the first Fable was the exclusive. That started there. Sudeki, I've talked about this. They came out, I think they came out on the same day, Sudeki and Fable. I got Sudeki, I did not get Fable. And I like Sudeki, honestly. It was a 4-player game. It was kind of like a gauntlet. I really liked it. Fable apparently was incredible. I played some of it when they released that like anniversary one or something on the 360. I've played Fable 2 and 3 full and love them, but those two were exclusive as well. So they had a lot of good exclusives. I think it was their most, I hate to say this word, but daring console. I think they took the most risks with the original. 360 is their best console. In terms of its sales, the game library was fantastic as well. And the 360 was like that's when Xbox Live was pumping, hitting at its peak pretty much, and shit like. But this is my personal favorite. But yeah, original Xbox, love it. Let me know what you think of the original Xbox and your memories. Thanks for checking this out.